Where I live in County Galway is really lovely. It's really pristine countryside, and there's fields up the road for me, and of course always these dramatic skies that you really never know what they're going to do next. But it's great to get out for a walk and sometimes even walk up the road to Tyrone House. It's a ruin that stands on top of a hill, a big imposing thing, but it makes a great subject to draw, and I've sketched it many, many times. Although it might not be the safest house to wander around inside, it doesn't put me off, and I love to go and sit inside it and just get on with some sketching. The house was built in 1789, but has been burnt out, I suppose, and empty since the early 20th century. You're looking through the main entrance here, and you can imagine what a fabulous view that once was over all the fields. And it was said that this house had the finest sunsets in Europe. Okay, I'm ready to paint. As you can see, this is a crazy, look at this. This is a crazy ruin. And as you can also might be able to see, there's some pretty dark clouds coming in over the river, over the estuary. So, and there's no roof. That's my roof. So I make my first shapes just in paint and brush, just to make sure that everything's in the right place. Okay, at this stage it looks pretty shocking, but it's not a bad idea to block in the main values. It's all about darkening those values, whether that's with ink or with layers of paint. Just darken them up. As you can see, the light has really changed. It's suddenly getting really dark and ominous. But I am more or less done, so I'm not too bothered. And there you go. Here I am back in the studio, and I thought you might like to know all the bits and pieces that I used. For example, my favourite green of all, this is called Green Appetite Genuine, and it's a wonderful olive green. It's granulating, as you can see. Let me just hold that up. You can see how it's granulating, which just means that as it dries, it separates into these little flecks, which makes it awfully pretty. So that's Green Appetite Genuine, and it's by Daniel Smith. The other colours are all by Roman Szmal. Roman Szmal is a Polish watercolour maker, and he makes the most beautiful, stunning pigments and colours that you can possibly imagine. Now, when I was in Tyrone House doing the painting, I had to be quite brief with what I was explaining because time was against me, the rain was coming in. But what I tried to get across was the importance of getting your values right. So these incredibly dark borders right next to where the light is coming through. There's only one thing that makes the sky look bright, and that's darkening up the area immediately adjacent to it. So there's no light without dark is what I'm trying to get at there. The darks were achieved with a mixture of dark inks and dark paint, and the paint was mostly a mixture of Payne's Grey and Burnt Umber. I got caught in the rain on the way home, and there's a little bit of a running situation there, and it was my own fault because I could have stayed under any one of these big window arches or any of the doorways, and I would have been nice and dry. But I got freezing cold on the way home, and Reuben the terrier was not happy at all. But on the whole, there's not a lot more to tell you other than remember your values. Start off your drawing with a paintbrush if you're not sure what you're doing, and even if you are sure what you're doing, I'm pretty sure what I'm doing, but I like to get those first shapes in watercolour. I've just noticed that this one's a bit funny, but never mind that. If you're much more likely to be successful if you start off with just a brush and watercolour. And even if you have those lines, even if they've settled out, you can see a couple of them settling out there because I didn't move them. I didn't blend them into the paint before they dried, but you don't notice things like that really. Same with the upper windows. You can see how the light looks super bright just because the stone next to it is really darkened. So there you go. There's the first of, I hope, many YouTubes I'm going to bring you about Tyrone House. Really hope you enjoyed it.